So let me tell you about this study. It was very interesting. It was published in 2017 and it involved over 52,000 adults. And they were asked how likely were they to orgasm during partnered sex. Now, this study involved heterosexual men, women, homosexual men, and women, and bisexual men and women. And who do you think came out on top as the highest probability or likelihood of orgasming or highest frequency of orgasm during partnered sex? Yep, men, particularly heterosexual men at 95%, answering yes, they almost always orgasm during sex. Now, who, pray tell, do you think came out the lowest likelihood of having orgasm during intercourse, or least reliable? Yep, heterosexual women. Only 65% said they usually or always orgasm during sex. That, my friends, is the orgasm gap. The gap in the frequency and occurrence of orgasm between heterosexual men and the heterosexual women they have sex with. Other findings in this study are even more interesting. So let's talk about lesbian women. Lesbian women, do you think they're more like heterosexual men or more like straight women? In fact, lesbian women have significantly higher likelihood of orgasm during sex than straight women. 86% versus the 65% in straight women. Now, even more interesting is bisexual women. Bisexual women have sexual encounters with both vulvas and penises. So are they more like lesbian women or more like straight women? Turns out, when a penis is involved, bisexual women are more like straight women. They have around 66% reported frequency of orgasm with intercourse. If you are a penis owner, this is not good news. So, when a penis is involved in partnered sex with a vulva, it lowers the odds of that vulva orgasming. Why? How did we get here and how do we get out of here? Okay? So, big factor that has allowed the orgasm gap to endure time itself is the reality that procreation or having a child, bearing a child, getting pregnant is not relied on our orgasm. So our orgasm is not essential to procreation. Our meaning women's orgasm, whereas a man's orgasm is essential to procreation. Eons of heterosexual couples go with one partner orgasming reliably almost all the time and the other partner hit or miss. And that is perfectly fine and acceptable because in the end, babies are still being made. Our male-dominated sexist society absolutely has a huge factor in how we perceive sex to be in a heterosexual relationship. So heterosexual sex is absolutely focused on a man's pleasure and on the act of penetration. And everything else is kind of like an afterthought or a non-factor. Woman's pleasure, an afterthought or a non-factor, and other things beyond penetration are like extras that aren't necessary. We women are brought up in a society that does not encourage us to understand our private bodies. In fact, we live in a society that has these negative kind of underlying toxic messages for our vaginas and vulvas. They're unclean, they're dirty, they're smelly, they look weird. A lot of us haven't even ever looked at what it looks like on us and are afraid to. And we certainly aren't being encouraged to touch ourselves so we can understand what feels good and what doesn't feel good. In fact, many religions discourage self-gratification and masturbation and consider it a sin, especially for women. But if the clitoris, which was designed solely for pleasure, that's literally its function, it's a pleasure organ, is designed, how is it that masturbation is wrong? Make it make sense. So we don't understand our bodies as vulva owners as well as our penis owners understand their bodies. It's important, I think, to close this gap is to encourage women to understand themselves, to become more comfortable with themselves. And this isn't just simply by touching oneself, but it's about embracing the beauty that is owning a vulva comes with. It's about familiarizing yourself with what it looks like, not being embarrassed and shy about it, confident and understanding what feels good and what doesn't. And when you're more comfortable and you understand more, then you can communicate better in the bedroom and you can be more into the moment at the time, which decreases the threshold that it takes to orgasm. The other thing is that penis owners need to recognize the power that lies in the vulva, which is the clitoris. The clitoris is not just an appetizer you breeze through. It is the appetizer and the main course, and if you want, the dessert.
Did you hear that?
The clitoris holds the key to the orgasms in 90% of women. 90% of women cannot orgasm without clitoral stimulation. In fact, even if you can orgasm with penetration alone, clitoral stimulation heightens or increases the intensity of penetration. So the clitoris isn't just a little nubbin head that you see. It actually goes deeper and wraps around the vagina and like a wishbone. And so the clitoris, when it's excited, is engorged with blood, just like the penis is with an erection. And so the bulbs that envelope the vagina become engorged and sensation is heightened. And so penetration feels even better when the clitoris is stimulation because of the anatomy. And so that like intense, amazing sensation of penetration may be entirely because of the clitoris. So it's in your best interest, penis owners, to get the clitoris involved. I hope this helped somebody out there. And here's to closing the orgasm gap and better sex.